So now that we do it all over again and we brought that 6 down, you ask yourself, x times what is 2x? X times what, everybody, is 2x? 2. So up here, it goes in 2 times. Positive 2, so you put plus 2. Now, in our graphic organizer, that said divide, so we do it all over again. Now we multiply. 2 times the x part of the divisor is 2x. 2 times 1 is positive 2. If I were you, I would put it in parentheses, draw your line and subtract so that you remind yourself, like in our warm-up, we're subtracting both of these terms, not just the front. So this is where, me personally, I'm like, okay, I got this. I'm going to change that. Instead of subtracting, that's the same thing as distributing that negative through. 2x minus 2x cancel. 6 plus a negative 2. What's 6 plus negative 2? Thank you, Rose. You're with me? 4. Now, y'all, what do we call that for? Can a binomial go into a monomial? No. So this is called your remainder, and here's how you write your final answer. You ready for this? Your final answer is the x plus 2 that we have in that division, plus your remainder. That 4 gets written over your divisor. So your final answer is x plus 2 plus 4 all over x plus 1. Okay? Now, I'm going to do one more with you, and then I assume you kind of know what's going on to try one on your own, okay? And then we'll take a break right after this, okay? So here we go. You ready? I gave you kind of another easy one. So let's get this started. You ready? Let's get that long division bar, symbol, whatever it is that you used. Okay? Now, we have x plus 4, which involves 2 terms, so let's go 2 terms over. I'm going to hide that 4 for a minute. Binomial can only go into a binomial. So, look at your first term, though. X squared. X times what will give you x squared, everyone? X. Are you going to put it above the x squared or above the x? Above the x. It has to align. So let's put an x there. 1x, right? That's step 1. We call that divide on your graphic organizer. Step 2, we're going to take this, what we just found, and we're going to distribute it, aka multiply by the divisor. So that's going to give us x times x, which is x squared. X times 4 is positive, so plus 4x. Okay? I know it seems weird, but I need you to understand that I'm putting that in parentheses because when I draw this subtraction sign and I draw that kind of line so I can subtract, I'm not just subtracting x squared, I'm also subtracting a positive 4x. So in my mind, that's the same thing as adding a negative x squared and adding a negative 4x. It won't always be that way. I'll show you when we get to the other examples. Now let's subtract, aka add x squared plus a negative x squared. Bam, they cancel. That front term always can. Don't force it. If it doesn't cancel, you did something wrong. 5x plus a negative 4x. What's that, y'all? Just 1x. Good. Now, so we divided, we multiplied, we just subtracted. What's the 4th step? Bring down. So you're going to bring down the plus 4, and we do it all over again. Oh, wait a minute. This one's easy, but I'll still break it down. How many times does x plus 4 go into itself, x plus 4? 1. So you're going to put a plus 1 right here, positive 1. Now if you're going, well, how am I supposed to know that? Well, you could also say, how many times does x go into x? 1 time, it's the same thing. Now we multiply down. So 1 times x, the divisor, is x. 1 times 4, the other part of the divisor, is plus 4. Once again, I know when you subtract the same thing at 0, but I'm going to show you that when I subtract and when I distribute that negative through, x minus x, gone. 4 minus 4, gone. Your remainder is 0. So therefore, x squared plus 5x plus 4 divided by x plus 4 gives you an answer of x plus 1. And that is your final answer. So with example 4, what I did is I'm gonna take this, which remember, this is your dividend, it's on paper now, you can't screw this up, the bottom is your divisor, and if you notice, we already know the answer to this. I'm flat out giving you the answer, y'all, okay? So we need to do this together. So instead of doing it, we're gonna do it on here. So if you can go ahead and fill out, go ahead and put, this is the kind of already pre-set up for you, okay? So what's nice about this is I'm going to kind of keep this up here, and I'm going to do some check marks as we go, because every problem is always a little bit different, okay? So here we go. We have a trinomial divided by a binomial. So once again, I'm going to go 2 terms. I'm going to go over 2 terms and say, okay, how many times does x plus 3 go into 3x squared plus 7x? Well, the shortcut kind of cheat way is just to look at x and 3x. Now, some teachers say, how many times does x go into 3x squared? And that gets confusing, even though that's division. So I'm going to ask you another way. X times what gives you 3x squared, everyone? X times what will give you this identical term? 3x. Good. We're going to write that above the x. See how everything's aligned? Okay. So that was what we call step 1. Divide, we did. And we might have to go this process more than once. Now we multiply. What do we multiply? We multiply this by the divisor. So you're going to distribute. So 3x times x is 3x squared. Oh yeah, we want them to be the same. And then 3x times 3 is 9x. Now, if you're wondering what the heck these things are parentheses. So I'm just going to kind of like bring this one in and just kind of exaggerate here. But if you'll notice, it says draw the line, change the sign. Well, they already drew that subtraction line for you. But remember, if you are good at doing this, you are subtracting, okay? This has to be distributed. That negative has to be distributed through. So that's why I kind of say, okay, that's the same as adding a negative and a negative. And I really exaggerate so that I don't get lost with like my pencil when you're doing your homework, that you know what you're doing here, okay? So here we go. You ready? 3x squared minus 3x squared, gone. Should always happen. What's 7x plus negative 9x? You can use your calculator, but you've got to be able to do this. What's 7x plus negative 9x? Y'all, negative 2x. Come on. Negative 2x. So we multiplied. We just subtracted in our little chart here. Now it says bring down. Okay, we can do that. Check. Now, unfortunately, though, the way that you know that you're not done is that it's like you can see right here there's a spot missing. So we have to do this again. So here we go. Step 1 again. Let's divide. How many times will x plus 3 go into negative 2x minus 12? Well, the easiest way to look at that is x times what is negative 2x? X times what is negative 2x? Negative 2. So we're going to put minus 2 up there. See how that works? See how it's all pretty and nicely aligned? So that was step 1, divide. Step 2, let's multiply. Negative 2 gets distributed to the divisor. So negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Once again, I'm going to squeeze this parentheses on the right inside here to just exaggerate. You are subtracting a binomial, which means, ooh, watch this one. You ready? What happens when you take away a negative? It becomes positive, doesn't it? So when you distribute, watch this. This becomes positive, and so does this. So here we go. Let's hope this is the last time, right? Negative 2x plus 2x, gone. Negative 12 plus 6 is negative 6. We now have arrived at our remainder. So you need to write the final answer. You ready? Here we go. I'm going to write it off to the side. Our final answer is 3x minus 2. We see that up here. Now, I want everyone to put a plus And I know you're going, no, the remainder is negative 6. But I'm going to write that negative 6 on top. I'm just going to tell you it's going to save you a lot of pain. And I'll try to be consistent doing that way. Okay? Is everybody good? Okay. Turn your page. We're going to probably have time to do one more together, and we'll do one to help my other classes too when they watch the video. But here's the deal. Please listen to this because this is important. Not every problem establishes that natural alignment that we've had so far. So I'm going to help you. We're actually going to do number 7 together, and if we have time, we'll go back and do 5. But do you realize, I want you to write this down. Do you realize it says up here that all terms must be accounted for? So you might need to replace a missing term. Well, if you're like, what is she talking about? Well, look, you ready? Let's go ahead and write the divisor. Okay, let's write this kind of like as a fraction for a minute. Okay? If you know the divisor is x plus 4, there's no terms because this is linear and that's a constant. It's fine. But ready? Let's fix this. Do you all see where it says x squared minus 4? In a normal standard form, what goes between the x squared and the constant? What goes between x squared and a constant? Aren't we missing like the x term, like the linear term? So here's what you need to do in order to do this problem. You ready? Watch. You need to put a placeholder in for the x term. Otherwise, you will not be able to divide this out and things will not align. Okay? So I'm going to tell you right now, when you start your long division, you've got to use that placeholder. Now number 6, you should be okay with. There's nothing wrong there. But let's look at number 7, and I'm going to actually use the graphic organizer. If you don't like the graphic organizer, you don't have to do it, but there's one more on your paper. Okay? So watch what happens. You ready? The divisor's fine. There's no terms missing. But when you do division, do you see that this says x to the third plus 5x minus 6? Normally, there would be something in between there. So I'm going to write x to the third plus 0x squared, because 0x squared is nothing, so it's not like I'm changing the problem, plus 5x minus 6, okay? Now, if you're comfortable doing the long division right here, but if you want, I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to do this one on your graphic organizer, okay? So here we go. You ready? This is probably the last one we might be able to squeeze one more. The more we do together, the less you have to do on your own, and it should help you get in the routine, okay? So here we go. Let's write our dividend. This is number 7, by the way. So I'm doing number 7 on here. So we have x to the third plus 0x squared plus 5x minus 6. And then our divisor out here is x minus 1. Okay? Now, we're going to start this problem the same way. Do y'all hopefully understand in a minute why we had to use this placeholder? But we have 2 terms, so I'm going to go 2 terms out. Now, you ready? Ooh, this is a little different. That's why we're doing this one together. X times what, y'all? Gives me x to the third. Yes, good. So look, if you didn't have this term right here, you'd be trying to put it over this one and they don't match. So it goes in x squared times. See how it's lined up? X squared, x squared. Now that was the divide. Step 2, let's multiply. Let's distribute this to the divisor. X squared times x is x to the third. X squared times a negative 1 is minus x squared. So once again, we now did multiply. I'm going to move this parentheses in. We're going to subtract this binomial in red here. So I'm the type that I like to distribute that negative through. Well, that minus becomes a plus. Be careful. Now, x to the third minus x to the third, gone. 0x squared plus x squared. What's that going to be? 0x squared plus a 1x squared is 1x squared. Okay? now, what do? You can only bring down one thing at a time. So that's an error that I saw earlier. So we'll pick this up on the next video.